Welcome to the Father Focus podcast.
Father Focus.
Check.
Why are we talking about this? Why does it matter?
So shaping your kids into powerful people.
Bro, let that brother fly.
Check.
All right, let's go.
You ready?
All right, let's go. I was messing. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Father Focus podcast. It is so great to be with
What
each
up?
and every one of you. Nathan, what's going on, my man?
Dude, this Essentia water,
Yes.
they wouldn't even have to pay me to talk about how good this is. If they want to, I wouldn't hate it, but it is delicious.
You know what's funny? As I never had it whenever you came to my house in, February, January,
bought
February?
some. That's
Yeah,
right.
you bought like a pack, 6 of them. And I was like, what the heck is this? Had one, got one from the gas station or somewhere, and I was like, this is actually pretty good water.
I gave you one. You're not going to give me credit for that?
Ooh, maybe you did.
I definitely did.
Okay, well, then that's what it was.
You freaking jerk.
Well, hey, today we're going to be talking about a specific theme today as we do.
Let's go.
I'm excited. What we're going to be
Yes.
discussing is going to be interesting to every guy, whether you're single, whether you're married. And also, hey, if there's any ladies listening, you'll be interested in this as well. We've actually titled this one, How to Get the Girl.
The question every guy wants to know. Who's
Yeah.
single?
Yes. So, really, kind of the angle we want to approach today is obviously everyone is going to, at some point in your life, you're going to be interested in someone. You're going to pursue someone, and if you're married, just because something happens at one moment in the past, I've given my life to the Lord. The great conundrum that people have is that they don't continually pursue Him.
Right.
All of their life. And then
Right.
likewise with our spouses, Nathan, sometimes it's like, oh, well, I married her. I got her.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh man, and life is hectic. And sometimes like you go through these ups and downs in your relationship, but it's about continuing to pursue her. So we're going to talk about both angles and both
Before
perspectives.
marriage and after marriage,
Yes.
pursuing the
Yes.
woman,
Yes.
right? Because we're big advocates on we're not the guy that has like side chicks and
Oh, my
pursuing
goodness,
like
yeah.
the player.
Right.
Like we're big advocates for as a man, you're going to be most happy, most satisfied, most fulfilled when you have one woman that you commit your life to and you guys build something together. Like that's
Yeah.
worth pursuing.
Absolutely.
And so I think we want to start with kind of talking to single guys,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Because they need help. I mean, like
Listen,
They're-
when I was
they're-
single, I needed help.
you
as
did.
know.
Thank
know.
God I was your friend. I
Uh,
mean, because without
actually,
me, legitimately,
Sometimes he is sarcastic. Nathan is sarcastic.
more often than not.
He was not sarcastic right there.
Yeah.
Thank God you
Yeah.
were my friend. But nevertheless, single guys, man,
Yeah.
get the girl. How to get the girl? I think obviously the first thing that I would suggest, and
tight pants.
tight pants. Okay, don't wait for the guy or the girl. I don't know. All right, the first thing I would suggest, we'll let him talk about the tight pants thing. But first thing I would suggest is you are not eligible to get the girl, or to go after the girl, or even to answer or to entertain this question if there are certain foundational things in your life that are not in balance. For instance, don't pursue a girl if you don't have a job. If you don't have money and you're still in mommy and daddy's basement playing video games, you're not the kind of girl, you're not the kind of guy that a girl wants to be with. I mean, I can just tell you right there.
Yeah, we talked about that in a previous episode.
So, or maybe a future episode. We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. We've talked about that in an episode.
Okay, I can't remember. But nevertheless, there are some foundational things that I'm going to assume that you already know, but just to, again, throw it out there, like, man, nobody wants to be with people who have no ambition. No one wants to be with somebody, really. Oh, and if they do, it's going to be two people, like-minded. Neither one of you have ambition. So I'm going to assume some basic qualities. Like you do have a job. You are pursuing some kind of career. You have friends,
Life
everything's in balance.
purpose.
Yeah, like we're gonna
Yeah.
just assume a certain of those foundations. I think I would say one of the first things that you should do to get the girl, you have your eye on someone, is I would say literally put a Tic Tac in your mouth and be brave.
Yeah, if
I mean,
you're
it might sound kind of like stupid,
Yeah.
but just go approach, and maybe a lot of different approaches. I'll tell you my first approach on my wife. I say first, maybe one of the first. That Nathan also, I guess my wingman on this one. Nathan and my wife were actually probably closer as friends,
Right.
before me and her were friends, and so I remember one time I had just graduated high school. And we were all the three of us were going to be a part of a summer camp. We were working together, and they had me partnered with another girl, and Nathan was partnered with Taylor, this girl that I was somewhat
Your wife now.
my wife now, yeah. And so I was like, I went to Nathan. I was like, Nathan, I guess maybe I don't know how forward I was. You could tell me, but
You
I
were
was
pretty forward.
I was like, dude, I really kind of want to be with Taylor. Would you switch?
You threatened actually to
rooms?
slash my tires if I didn't let you
Like,
work
I'm gonna
with her.
stab you. And I was like, bro, I need to get close to her. I just want to
Right,
like be able
right.
to just connect with her because I don't know her. I really don't. And to his chagrin, to his he did not want to go in this group. And the group that Taylor was in was kind of a better group, I guess.
The kids.
Yeah, it was the kids.
Yeah.
And so we went to our bosses and they switched us.
I was a good wingman,
That was-
and I let him spend time with the girl
A whole
that he
summer.
wanted to pursue. Yeah.
It was awesome.
And I took one for the team, as any good wingman should do.
Dude, and
They should.
I
hook
definitely
up.
flirted with her the whole time.
Yeah. But I think the point you're trying to make is that as a guy, you need to be the initiator in the relationship.
Sure.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
times I find guys today are kind of hoping maybe the girl will take
Do
the
the-
first
do the work.
move, like they'll pursue them. And I think this is me. I think it impresses a woman when you're willing to have the courage
Yeah.
to risk it, take your shot, and fail. Like, I understand how scary that is. Like, we've both been in that
Oh, dude.
situation, right? Like, there is the real risk that girl can look you in the face and be like, you're stupid, you're ugly, I'm
call
not
it
interested in you.
friend-zoned, right?
Yeah, friend zone you. And you feel like a complete idiot for doing it. But I think there is something that's super valuable about you as a man, basically saying, I'm going to go after the girl that I'm interested in, even if it means I don't win.
Right.
Now, I will say this.
There's a little bit of vulnerability there too,
Sometimes I might say no the first time,
Yeah.
but maybe not the 100th. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah. Okay.
like
So you're not joking. So when I asked my wife out
I know.
at CFNI, we went to Bible school together, which was actually we ended up there together, but we didn't actually plan to go there together. We had it was kind of random. And now I look back and I'm like, no, it was providential. So we go to CFNI, and it's actually a funny story, but I asked her to go out to eat. And we had a chapel at night, and I don't know, maybe 8:00, let's say. And I went to her and I said, hey, Taylor, do you want to go to IHOP? We didn't really know a lot of people. We had already gone out to IHOP probably a few nights before with a group of people. So I went to her and I said, hey, would you like to go to IHOP? And she said, sure, who's going? And I went, no, well, nobody, maybe just you and I could go. And she went, no, that's okay. You can take my car. And I was like, and the story behind that is I didn't have a car.
Rejected.
And I was like, oh man. So fast forward a couple of weeks later, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I kind of took a deep breath and did it again, went to her again. And I said, hey, Taylor, you want to go to IHOP? Because I actually do like IHOP. I said, hey, you want to go to IHOP? And she said, sure, who's going? And I said, oh, can you just say yes? And she said, and a little bit of more of a backstory. I didn't share this. We actually went to her senior prom together after Nathan was able to shoot a couple of arrows for me.
You guys were definitely vibing.
Yes,
for
for sure. She said no that next time. And then I asked her again, same thing. Who's going? Nobody, just you and I. And she said no.
No again.
I was like, oh, my heart is
Yeah.
hurting. Went back like a wounded puppy. And
But I think the principle is, I think this is important for guys, is like you can take the easy road. Every girl's valuable. But we
Right,
all know that
right.
there's some girls that the way they carry themselves, who they are as a person, it's like they're the girl a lot of guys want because of who they are. Taylor was a girl. We both knew a lot of guys that liked Taylor, were into girl.
Yeah.
Taylor wanted to date her. And so I think there was something admirable in you that was like, hey, listen, this is the girl that I want to be with. and I'm going to continually take my shot. Not in a creepy way. We're not
Right.
advocating stalking here. Like, just to be clear, like
If you get a
girl-
restraining order, you're a moron.
No says no. No
Right.
means no, right? Like, this is not that complicated. But I think what we're saying is that there is this willingness to keep going back in a polite,
Right.
gentleman type of
Yeah.
way and pursuing a girl. Now your strategy might need a shift. Maybe
Right.
she hated pancakes. Like,
Yeah.
who knows what was really going
yeah,
on there?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying.
Right. So for her and I, again, my wingman here, I actually went out of the country for about right under a year, and Nathan was basically, hey, listen, you need to.
She was
go
with
after
another
this
guy.
girl.
And they were close to being engaged at this point.
Yeah, she probably would argue. I think they had talked
Yeah,
about
I
it.
don't
She
know.
yeah,
They were in a serious relationship.
They
whatever.
they were in a semi-serious relationship, which was in like an elder-run church, and they were going through these avenues of talking to their leaders and all this stuff, which, we won't get into that right now. But nevertheless, Nathan sends me a message like, "Hey, look, dude, if you're serious about her, you need to throw a Hail Mary, something like that." But to be honest with you, I'm really good at throwing Hail Marys.
He is.
So I worked the magic there through some love letters that she still has today.
Hey-o.
And without getting into our personal story, I'm just saying to be a little ambitious. And especially having the right friends. I think friends who approve of the relationship, like Nathan and I have been best friends
Right.
for years. And he's like, dude, you need to do this.
That's a good principle. If all your best friends are like, yeah, dude, this girl sucks, like, you probably shouldn't date her. Like,
Right.
you should trust your friends that they
Yeah.
probably have your best interests in
Right.
mind.
Right.
So I think one principle is take your shot. I think another thing that's super important for younger guys to really self-evaluate is every guy wants a 10. Right? Every guy wants like the best girl, the most beautiful girl, the smart girl, the successful girl, those things. But the thing I always say is if you want a 10, you better be a 10.
That's right.
Like if you're a 3, you ain't getting a 10. Like
Yeah,
it's just a
yeah,
principle.
yeah.
Like that reality is true. I think a top tier girl will look at a guy and evaluate like, can he lead me?
Right.
Will he take care of me? Will he protect me?
Yep.
And if she looks at you and you're like, working a part-time job
That's Sonic,
and you have no ambition and no drive and you don't take care of yourself and you wear like wrinkly sloppy clothes all the time and you carry yourself in a certain way, it's like a woman's going to look at you and say, he's probably not the guy for me.
Right.
And so there's just a few practical things I kind of define that as. Obviously your external appearance is important, but it's not the most important thing.
Right.
Like women aren't as visually driven as men are. So,
But you can take a bath.
Yeah, I mean, wear deodorant, get a haircut, like shave. If you can't grow real
Yeah,
facial
Nathan.
hair, like shave it.
Shave it.
Yeah,
Like
I was
Jared.
actually talking to you, but but like physical appearance is important. Go to the gym, exercise, take care of yourself. Stop eating McDonald's at 2:30 in the morning. Like simple things like that.
Yeah, grow up.
But I think it's other things like work hard. Like I actually tell a lot of young guys that like I mentor. I'm like, dude, you're not in college right now. Like you should be working 50, 60 hours a week.
Absolutely.
Like you should have
2 jobs.
thousands of dollars in
Yeah.
the bank. You should be able to put a down payment on a house. Like you have time. The older you get, once you have kids and you're married, you have no time. Like literally there's
Right.
moments where we feel like we have no time for
Yeah.
ourselves, no time to do anything because we got kids and
Dude, don't
jobs
you-
and responsibilities.
Don't you think it's a little funny when people
Say
like
how
single
busy
people
they are.
and they have no kids, they have no spouse, no girlfriends, and they're like, I'm so busy.
So tired.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
Now, if they're working 2 jobs,
Uh,
I completely emphasize with them.
Granted,
But I think
yeah.
it's how we spend our time.
That's
But the
right.
point I'm trying to make is that you got to plan long term for like what you're trying to accomplish as a man. And so video games are fun. Like hobbies are good.
love
I
it.
enjoy those things too. But my goal is not to live in my parents' basement for the rest of my
That's right.
life or have a part-time job and like be a perpetual 22-year-old. Like
Right,
my goal
right.
was to have a family and be a
I want a
husband
wife,
and
yeah.
have kids and have a profession and build something significant. So like I had to start planning now. But the stupid thing I did, dude, is literally probably I was in New Orleans. I was making like $40,000 a year living at home. Dude, I would probably spend like $1,500 a month eating out.
By yourself.
Like by myself. Like
Jeez.
whatever I wanted, I bought it. I got fat. Like I had to buy bigger pants. Like it was not a win for me in any way. And I also look back and I'm like, I wasted
Where's all that
so much money.
Yeah, at Cane's, huh?
Especially Raising Cane's. Shout out to Raising Cane's. But like my point is that there's a few things like as a man that even as a young man, like if you're 20, 21, 22, like you got to get your crap together.
That's right.
So physical appearance, like you need to work hard. You need to save money. You need to own a vehicle, get a 401k, like just some practical stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then the third thing I think that's really important that culture doesn't talk about is the intangible character of a man.
Yes.
Like the externals are important, like, but you know what also matters is how you treat women.
Yeah.
Like, are you kind? Are you caring? Do you put them first? Would you protect a woman? Like simple things like if I'm walking down the street with my wife, I want to make sure she's on the inside, not the outside. So if a car happens to veer down the road, it'll hit me before her. Like just hold the door open.
Yep.
You know, have like humility as a man. Be kind to people. Like just simple principles of being a good human being. You know, I feel like there's this whole like culture of like alpha males being chauvinistic and rude and demeaning to people. There's a quote I really like. It says like, you can tell the measure of a man how he treats people that can do nothing for him. And so how do you treat the little people, the people that seem insignificant to you, that don't matter? All women notice those things. Even if men don't, women notice those things. And so I think, like, do you like the person that you are? When you lay your head on the pillow at night, do you actually like who you are? Do the people around you like you? Do they all think you're a jerk and a narcissist? Or do you actually are someone that, like, people like? You care about other people, you're kind. I think those things are super huge, and women care about that kind of stuff. So if you want a 10, you better be a 10.
Better be a 10. And one thing that I know you'd agree with, because you're smart, is I'm not being facetious there, but like literally like intelligence. Like don't go pursuing the smartest girl in the room if you're not growing in your intellect.
Educate yourself.
Reading books, advancing in the I guess the philosophies of the day and having an understanding of the world and society and politics. And, don't pursue a Christian girl because you think she's nice and she's not going to cheat on you if you're a dog, right? And you're just chasing every other girl and you're like, well, it's time. I want to go after the bad girls, but now it's time to settle down. Now let me go get a good Christian girl. Like she don't want you.
Right.
If she's a good Christian girl, she won't want you.
Right.
But the goal is, and I've there's a book by a guy by the name of Vodi Bakum, and it said, "What must he be?" It's the title of the book. What must he be to win my daughter, to marry my daughter? And that's the question that I think guys should kind of ask themselves, because one day, Lord willing, you'll have a daughter, and you'll be able to give her hand away. Yeah. And it's like, what kind of man do you want to be to marry someone else's daughter?
Or your sister.
Or your sister, right?
Right.
Agreed. And so I think all of the things that Nathan's saying, your mind and just sharpening yourself puts you in a great position. Now, you may get your heart broken. You may go out and ask her out, and she may say no. And maybe there's somebody else. I'm sure.
It's part of the game.
Yeah. It's part of just kind of finding out your own stride. But now, let's just say, for the sake of a lot of our listeners who have already, got the girl, you've already won her hand and married. Yeah, you're married, 5 kids, a couple businesses, and you're a pastor. You have the girl, right? That's me if I'm being a little facetious. But married, family, kids. Life is busy.
You've been together for a while.
15 years. Yeah, you've been married. And how, Nathan, let me just throw it at you. You and Christine have been married for, what, 14 years?
Yeah, we just made 14 years.
Yeah, May 8th, right?
Yep.
May 8th. Been married a long time. How do you continue to practice pursuing your wife? Because sometimes it's dry, and then you have to
Yeah. Well, I think natural, our design as men is to conquer. And when you conquer something, and I'll use this in the analogy of marriage, like you spend all this time, effort, money to like win a girl.
Pursuing
you
her,
buy an engagement ring, like you go through the whole process, you plan everything
Dates,
out.
yep.
She says yes, the wedding day. Like what happens is you can be tricked into believing that conquest is over and it's time to move on to a new thing. It could be another business, hobbies, whatever. But I think so inherently in men is a desire to chase, to pursue, to conquer, to go after stuff. And inside of every wife is the desire to be chaste,
Right.
to be desired, to be beautiful. And I think as men, we communicate that when we continue to pursue,
Right.
when we continue to date, we continue to tell our wife she's beautiful, I love you, you look hot today. You know, all those things like communicate.
Little flirty things.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm still into you. And the other side of the coin is a lot of times I see in marriage, and it's things that I've like personally struggled with, is there seasons where you get so distracted. It's not that you don't care about your spouse anymore, but you get distracted by other things that
Noble
you forget.
things.
Right. You forget to communicate to your wife that she's still worth chasing.
Right.
And that creates a lot of trauma and issues inside of marriage.
Yeah. And I think, agreed. Let me flip it on its head. What you were saying, at the foundational level, I do think that men should be the ones pursuing. It's built in us to go and to get, right? And at the most basic level, the woman wants to be pursued and to be chased.
Right.
But to flip that over, ladies, and I know every guy hearing this is going to agree, also you must help by pursuing your husband. He cannot chase. And this is something that I'm blessed because my wife does pursue me as well. And it's almost like a game. It's like almost give and take. You know, there's this like great balance and flow, flirtation, all those things both ways. And so for the ladies listening, go after your man. You know, but specifically for men, because that's who we're talking about. I think one of the big things, like Nathan's talking about, like, hey, we're building a life. We've come together. We've married. We've exchanged rings. She's bought you multiple rings. Like, you know, our wives have bought us multiple rings because we keep losing them. Yep. But, you know, you're together. You're in covenant. Right. And now you're going to build a life that you wanted to build. And so I think one of the great things that Nathan was talking about is you get ambitious to pursue maybe something else, paying off the house, rental properties, career, pastors, you know, new business endeavors, Hi Hello Labs. Like, and you get so caught up in the kids' sports that you forget your spouse. But I think what is appropriate, and I don't think that this is too crazy, it's like you practically should come together and be like, hey, we need to work on us, and literally just have the conversation. Like, I'm going to pursue you, you need to pursue me. And I know sometimes it's like maybe mathematical, like, hey, this date. Like, I've literally read like a relationship therapist where they're like, okay, we're struggling in this area, so we're going to give a lot of attention to it. On, you know, July 1st, I'm going to pursue you all day. I'll do, you know, I'm going to come up with it out of creative days, but just know that it's coming.
You're going to do the dishes. You're going to buy her flowers.
Yes.
You're going to clean the house. You're going to
Yes.
take care of the kids. You're going to do that project you said you're going to do for 15 years that you haven't done. Things like that. You're basically saying.
Or not even work. I mean, it can be those things, or just like, hey, for those of wives who are just, I don't care what you do, I want to just be with you, quality time. So maybe that's what it is. And you've got to know your own spouse. Like, I can't tell, like, oh, well, you know what, Nathan, you have to, you know, take Taylor out to the movies.
Why would I take your wife out?
No. Okay, I don't know why I said that. You don't have to take Christina out because Taylor likes this. You've got to know your own spouse. Yeah. Right, what they want, and you've got to figure that out. You have to be like a learner of your wife, so to speak. Like, I have to know what qualities my wife has, and you have to go after them the way they want to be pursued. Don't pursue them with something that you may want. Like, hey, go play golf with me, Christina, right? You might not be able to say that. You may say, hey, I'm going to pursue you and go shopping or, you know, a movie, whatever it is.
Yeah, you have to figure out what your wife needs and then meet those needs.
Exactly.
I think that's huge. You know, one of the things that we've done our entire marriage, I think has been super helpful for us, is we make it a point to go on trips on our anniversary.
Nice.
So like I know a lot of couples will like do a dinner, and I think that's great. Like I'm not knocking that, but I know for us it's been great to take multiple days away together. So like we just went to Colorado Springs, which is an hour outside of Denver. We did Garden of the Gods. We did a lot of hiking, and then the next day we literally like climbed a mountain together. Christina tapped out halfway through, but there was something about us disconnecting from our kids and just being alone together and having fun together, going out to eat, getting tacos, like buying clothes together, like all of that reconnects you as a husband and wife. And so I'm a big advocate for, if you've been married, I think there should be at least 1 or maybe 2 times a year where you and your spouse just go away together without the kids, even just a few days, and like reconnect. Because it's funny, you know, sometimes in marriage, it's like you're so busy doing all the stuff that you have to do, you know, that it's like you start getting frustrated with each other because you're not like connecting, you're not spending time together, you're not having fun together. Like your conversations, you can bicker and fight and argue, and like that becomes like your relationship. And you get away for a few days together, and you're like, oh, I remember why I like you. Like, I remember why you're fun. I remember why we got together in the first place. And I think it's important as a couple that you have those moments where you actually enjoy being together. I don't know. Is there something that you feel like you do? You've been married 15 years.
Man, you know, so I have a lot of kids. It's difficult to get babysitters because getting like somebody to watch 5 kids is difficult.
What's that, like $150 an hour?
Yeah. So that's hard. Getting away, literally, sometimes when we go away, we went a few months ago to Arizona, which was the first time we took a trip in a very long time. We literally had to divide our kids up between grandparents. So it may not always be practical in your or possible in your situation based off of money. You might not be able to do a vacation. I agree with Nathan. Like you should be able to get away and just like work on you, right? If you have a problem in your bank account, you need to like cut spending, right? So if you have a problem in your relationship, and their attention needs to be given. And so, but you've got to be creative in what that looks like. If you have 5, 6, 7 kids, I mean, I literally know people who have that many kids. It may be, guess what? We're going to spend 3 hours together at night when everybody goes to bed.
Yeah.
And we're going to be deliberate, not TV, but playing games. Like Taylor and I have done that. We play like different like board games, Monopoly deal, like card games, Uno. Like we've done all kind of things just to connect, and like we're both competitive, and we'll actually, sometimes it's funny, we'll bet on who wins, and we'll be like, hey, massage. If I win, best out of 3, you got to give me a massage.
So who's winning right now? And you're
I'm pretty sure the last time we played Monopoly Deal is probably 2-3 weeks ago. I crushed her. It was like 5 times, and I was like, hey, massage. And there was some
baby 6 is on the way, guys.
There were some risque things going down.
Hey,
awesome.
We celebrate that in marriage. That's great.
No, but it's like you can make it fun.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
life is fun, and like in the context of marriage, you know, the Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled. Amen. And so it's like we do pursue her. I pursue her. She pursues me, and I'm not ashamed to say we have a great and healthy marriage. I mean, have we ever gotten in a fight? No, never. No, I'm lying. I'm joking. No, we fought, but we're committed to each other and to our growth. And when sometimes she's tapping out and she's in the sense of just overwhelmed, she's not pursuing me, or I'm tapping out, just so busy, cannot find time to pursue her, so to speak. We are good at coming together and serving each other. So there are times when I'm just like, Taylor, I really just like need you to pursue me, and literally just having a conversation. And, you know, again, in the context of marriage, and even if, you know, the whole thing, oh, I'm tired, and it could be in any way. But she literally, and I know that she is sacrificing herself at times for my sake. And I know she's willing. And maybe not always it's the most great thing that she's doing, but she'll still give herself to me. And even if that's sexually, even if it's just, hey, she's spending time with me, I'm stressed out, conversation, and I'm like, Taylor, I need you to put all your work away, put the kids away, I just need to engage, I need to talk through some things. And then vice versa. Like I know that there's some things sometimes when she really needs to have a conversation with me, and I could be in fix-it mode, you know, and she's like, I don't want you to fix anything. I already know the answers. I just need to connect with you, and I need you to support me emotionally. And that does a lot for our marriage. And honestly, sometimes, Nathan, sometimes
It's taken me 14 years to figure out not to say anything. Like for the long, she'd be like, I have this problem or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, that's easy. You got to do this, this, and this. And she'd get mad at me. I'm like, what the frick? Like, you asked me, you told me there's a problem. Like, I'm trying to help you. What's the problem right now? She's like, it's not about the problem, Nathan.
Right.
I'm like, you just said there was a problem. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about right now.
I think it took me 13 years.
Verbally processing is many times what women need is someone just to listen and empathize, which empathy for me is a new skill. It wasn't something my family did growing up. So it's a lot of, oh, babe, I'm sorry. That is really hard. I understand. Yeah, that'd be tough. Like a lot of those things to help her know that I'm hearing what she's saying. Yeah. So, yeah, that's huge. I think that whole idea about serving your spouse, putting them before you, the idea is how do you keep a good marriage? It's serving each other, right? I would say one last thing that's really important. I noticed that there's a lot of couples that are very resentful. Like there's this underlining resentment in their relationship. Like, I don't know if you've seen this, but like they go out with a group of friends and they're making fun of each other. Like their spouse is the butt of all the jokes. They're airing out their dirty laundry. Like it's like, oh yeah, I remember when you did that, you look like such an idiot, and everyone laughs at their expense, and the spouse laughs kind of.
Quick question. Would you say in your observation, is that more guys to girls or girls to guys, or equal? What would you?
It's probably both. I've noticed women do it more in a group, and I've seen guys do it maybe more just around other guys. Like they'll dog on their wives or rag on her or make jokes.
Taylor, he's not talking about me.
No, absolutely not. But I read a book. I thought it was super interesting. There was a psychologist that like did counseling for like hundreds of couples, and they said, I can tell from the first meeting if a couple's going to get divorced or not. And the guy was like, how's that possible? Whoa. She said, unresolved resentment and like just like this dismissive, like you're an idiot attitude is a clear sign that they're going to get divorced, because they don't look at their spouse and see the good. All they see is the negative. Wow. All they see is they see the negative, what they didn't do, how they failed. They're falling short in this area. They're disappointing me here. I don't get this. I don't get that. And a lot of people use humor to kind of cover up the feelings they have inside. And so for me and my marriage, me and Christina, I remember made a commitment early on. I think my parents actually taught me this. It's like when you speak about your spouse publicly, you only bring up the good. Like they should not be the butt of your jokes. Right. You should not like use their name in like a derogatory way, or, oh yeah, my wife's an idiot, or, oh, my husband's so stupid. Sure. Like you should be the one to lift them up. There's private conversations you can have about frustrations you have with your spouse. But like for me, it was very important for us that like when we talked about each other publicly, we said good things. Yeah. And the thing that we had to deal with, which means no matter how long you've been married or who you're with, like you're going to get ticked off at your spouse. Like they're going to tick you off. You're going to have disagreements about things. Is, man, if you don't learn how to forgive and let go of how they've hurt you, how they've let you down, how they've disappointed you. You have everyone has expectations. I have extremely high expectations. Like I want everything to be the best all the time. And so no one can live up to that, not even me. And so there's times where it's like I have to choose, and Christina, much more than me, has to forgive me for the way that I treat her. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen? We're not going to have a good marriage. Right. Like we're going to hate each other. And so if you're in a relationship right now where there's a lot of resentment, anger, unresolved conversations, you probably need to go to a counselor and you need to figure out how to let things go, or it's going to destroy your marriage. Yeah,
I counsel do pre-marriage counseling. I do marriage counseling at times. One of the interesting things, and Nathan, you would agree with this. I know you would actually. I probably would assume most people would agree with this. If there's not two willing partners, whatever your goal is, it's not going to work. Like Jesus said in Mark 3:25, I think it is, a house divided will not stand. A house divided. So if you have two people that are not going on the same path, you're not going to get there. If she's going this way, you're going this way, you're not going to get there. I think men should take the lead, but I need you to know, guys, you've got to lead in a way that your wife is willing. Nathan, you've said this multiple times. Lead in a way that your spouses are willing to follow you. You've got to be the kind of leader that you're almost like, you're creating a draft, like in what is that? Driving NASCAR. There's like these drafts, and they use anyway, Dale Earnhardt. Anyway, you have to create kind of like this flow that's going to make it easy for her to follow. Now, it can't be just you. She's got to work, ladies. You've got to go to work for your house, for the vision, for your family, for the romance. All of those things are needed. Give yourself over and over and over to each other, guys. Lead the way. Do it kindly. There's one more thing I was going to say.
Well, I would just say, too, this might apply. If there's been infidelity in your relationship, that's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
That's not just like, hey, just forgive them for cheating on you. I understand how complicated that is. But if you made the commitment to stay in the relationship, then get counseling, like get individual counseling, like go as a couple when you're ready. But like, don't settle and just let that lay there and hope it goes away. Like, time doesn't heal things. Right. Intentional pursuing of healing heals things. That's the key. So if you're in that situation, I just want to encourage you, like, find outside help to kind of get through that, because I know how difficult that can be. Yeah. But like, just a recap, like, what are we talking about? So if you're a single guy, what do you need to do to get the girl?
Be ambitious. Go after her. Have your life. Again, our premise was that you have a job. You are pursuing things in life. You're not living off of your dad. You're not living off of your mom. You can actually provide. Women want a provider. Nathan was talking about your character, like the intangible things, the things that make you you in the depth of the core of who you are, being kind to everyone around you. And then I was talking about a little bit about being bold. Like, hey,
take a risk, take your shot.
Pop a mint. Hey, get some cologne on and go approach her and be nice, be flirty. It's fine. Talked about friends a little bit. Make sure your friends are like, no, dude, that's a good girl. You should go after her. If y'all are fighting over the same girl, beat him. Maybe she'll be better than he will in the long run. But I think those are some basic steps. Yeah. Anything else?
Compliments are good opening lines. Girls like to hear nice things about themselves.
Did you cut your hair? No, I didn't.
I'm an idiot.
But it still looks like it's always so beautiful.
It looks good. Yeah. And then I think on the marriage side, it's continue to pursue your spouse, continue to serve each other, continue to make your relationship the priority, right? When it comes in a list of priority, it's first my relationship with God as a follower of Jesus, and then second is my spouse, not my kids, not my job. Like, my spouse is more important. So I'm going to pursue that relationship first and often. And then we talked about being a good forgiver. Yeah. So I think regardless of where you are as a man in your life right now, there are some practical things both you need to look at internally and some things that you can do to improve your relationship. Guys out there, all you single guys, I can tell you there's a lot of good ladies that we both know
they're waiting
that
for
are
you.
desperately waiting for a good man. So you start getting your life together, I think you'll be surprised at the kind of woman you can get.
That's right. And I think one of the big things that Nathan said is, be the 10.
Yeah, if you want a 10, be a 10.
Be the 10. Absolutely. Be great. Do it to the glory of God. And hey, listen, we want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Father Focus Podcast. Hey, go get the girl. Hey, we would love for you to subscribe if this is your first time listening. We want to thank you so much for listening. Would you please subscribe to this podcast, like, share? We would appreciate it so much. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Go pursue somebody. Pursue your spouse.
Invite us to the wedding.
Until next time.